my position on it, and I mean, we can get into this, but my position on it is that basically, fuck Amazon. There's just something that really annoys me about big companies who buy someone else's IP and then have no sort of skin in the game. The only reason they're doing it is because it's content, which is why
I hate that word.
I know, which is why Barbara Broccoli,
Cubby's daughter.
Yeah.
I call it Cubby's son.
And that's why she hated Amazon, because they had a meeting about it, and one of the people at Amazon called it content. And basically she was like, no. And so she basically was like, no, I'm not having anything to do with Amazon, and hated them.
Yeah.
And then apparently something else happened later, and they actually basically doubled down on that. And so she was like, I'm never working with Amazon ever.
Right.
Now, nobody seems to know what happened to make her change her mind. But, you know, it maybe was it $1 billion or something ridiculous? And they still have some sort of residual income, you know, agreement that goes with that as well. So maybe there's some sort of rev share or something that's going to come out of it. But
I mean, yeah, the sums of money involved are huge and eye-watering, but she's definitely been offered a lot of money. I would have thought. I mean, I know people who know the Broccoli. This is really weird, right? So I did a training course under a first AD, first assistant director, who was the son of a first assistant director, and both generations of that family. I mean, you can look at. I'm not going to say his name, but you can look him up. We should get him on here. Worked on the Bond franchise, so his father was the first AD across the entire Bond franchise.
Right. Okay.
And then his son took over the mantle.
Right.
And made some of the films. I'd really love to know what he thinks.
If anyone's curious, they can go look it up.
Yeah, Google him.
We'll make them do a little bit of work to find out.
And he's a lovely man. He's got some great anecdotes, got some great stories about it. I wonder what he would think, because obviously the Broccoli family, and Ian Fleming, it's a small group of individuals that have had power over who this character is. You know, his Britishness, which is almost, you know, I thought I was the most British person on planet Earth, but no, if you cut James Bond in half, his organs have a little Union Jack stamped on each one. On his kidneys is a little Union Jack.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, so to open that up to the Amazon world is a little scary. You kind of have to trust that they do the right thing. They use algorithms to look at data, viewers' data, what people want to see, what people want to watch, and to make commissioning decisions. So,
but isn't that the problem these days? And this is the bigger discussion that I think we also should have, because there are other examples. There's like Star Wars, and I was listening to another podcast, a podcast called The Town, and it's hosted by Matt Belloni, and he had this guy Lucas Shaw on, who's from
Matt
Bloomberg.
Belloni.
Yeah,
I love it.
And they were talking about the fact, you know, you can look at Disney buying the Lucas IP and what they did with Star Wars, and they had a really interesting point, which was that at the time, Lucas wasn't doing very well with Star Wars himself, right? Because they came out with the prequels that, you know, weren't doing fantastic anyway. And then, of course, Disney got involved. And I don't remember, was Jar Jar Binks, was that the Disney or was that Lucas? I can't remember.
Horrible character.
I know.
Loathsome.
But their point was, you know, kind of Disney came in, and it's been hit and miss since then. Like The Mandalorian, really, really good. I think everybody liked The Mandalorian. I think Rogue One is probably the best Star Wars film there is.
Rogue One is absolutely brilliant.
Out of all of them, I think it's the best.
One of my mates is in that film. Right. In fact, another friend is in the Star Wars franchise. I'm not going to mention him. He's an actor, Roger Barkley. Yeah. Well, I'll mention him, Roger Barkley. You can look him up. He's got one of those peaked caps on the Death Star, you know, that flat against your face.
Yeah.
And he looks right for the role. Another friend of mine, is an extra, was an extra in Rogue One, and then he had a little plastic figure made of him. So he's got a plastic figure of himself.
That's so cool.
But he obviously went out and bought like 20 of them.
Of course,
So
yeah.
you can never like just
He bought them all.
yeah. He bought all 20.
Make sure they keep making them.
Yeah, exactly. Really, really popular. They can't work out why that one figure is so popular. You know,
exactly.
Flying off the shelves. There's one guy in Australia buying them all.
Yeah.
Mad. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like but I think overall, it's what happens in my mind, and I think that the challenge to it is what happens, and particularly with Bond, because Bond is such a British brand, and it's so tied to the identity of the UK, and it actually does better outside of the US and Canadian markets. It actually does way better outside the US than it does inside the US. And so I think a lot of people's fear is that not only are they going to do cheesy shit with it, like they're going to make TV shows, and M's going to have her own, her own show.
Miss Moneypenny's definitely going to have her own show.
Moneypenny's going to have her own show.
006, 007,
yeah, 008. And all this, and they're going to put some random, probably non-British actor in the role, which is just going to that would be the worst fear. Like that's kind of worst case scenario. And I think
like a square-jawed Texan.
Exactly. Because they view it as content. It's just another piece of content that they can try and, do something with.
They would, surely they're not that stupid though. I mean, surely they wouldn't do that. I mean,
Really?
surely they'd put someone like Henry Cavill in, What?
I mean,
he's British, isn't he? Cavill?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he would be good. He would be.
Well,
good
he's been the one that everybody's talked about for ages.
It would be nice to see Henry in that, but maybe he's off making. The rumor is he's off making Warhammer 40,000 films, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's been fairly widely covered, I think. But
buy their shares now.
Yeah,
it's going to be a massive platform for them. It might already be priced in, but I mean, there's not going to just be one Warhammer film. There's going to be a whole universe opening up there. Buy their shares now.
and the other thing with him is he's a huge Warhammer geek himself.
Indeed.
And so that also just taps in. I mean, he's a geek for all the stuff that he's in. Do you know what I mean? He was a geek for The Witcher, loved The Witcher. He knew more about the Witcher lore than anyone else in The Witcher.
And I've read those books, and they're not bad books. They're a bit repetitive, but No, he's a geek in non-geeks clothing, isn't he? He's like
and he taps in directly to those audiences, I think, and it brings those audiences along in a way that probably wouldn't be in any other franchise. And he could do that for Bond as well, I reckon. But there was, I guess the articles I've read was that the feeling is that he was too old and that they wanted to go back to do a younger Bond.
For years, I have heard rumors that they want younger Bond so they can get 4 or 5 films out of him. And if I mean, Daniel Craig, how old was Daniel Craig when he started the franchise? He would have been a lot younger than...
That's a good question.
Roger Moore and Sean Connery, because Roger Moore and Sean Connery basically aged out, which is why they want to have someone who has a really good run. But Daniel Craig, I don't think was particularly young when he joined.
38.
38. I mean, they're probably looking at somebody early 30s, late 20s even. I mean, they could do a young Bond. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? I doubt...
Roger Moore was 45.
Yeah,
so he was quite old.
Roger was Roger. I mean, Roger did what Roger did. I mean,
exactly.
He made the role his own.
You got to love the internet. Sean Connery was 32. Lazenby was 29. Moore was 45. Timothy Dalton was 41.
Timothy Dalton, we don't talk about him because he made a quiche in one of the scenes. We don't mention Timothy Dalton. Bond doesn't eat quiche. Bond eats steak, eggs.
Exactly.
Caviar and champagne. That's
it. Champagne.
That's all he eats.
And martinis. Yeah, Pierce Brosnan was 42 and Daniel Craig was 38.
Well, I think Pierce Brosnan did a good job. Yeah, but they will look for young. But an actor has to have, for a film to sell, the actor has to have a decent number of films behind him. to bring
Exactly. Yeah.
viewers to it. I mean, Bond's always going to have viewers because there's a, you know, it's the longest running, most successful franchise the UK has ever produced. You know, we love a sequel. Studios love a sequel because they have an audience already. That's why you
Yeah.
get, what's that ridiculous car film? Fast and Furious 136 is coming out next year.
Exactly.
Yeah. And guess what? It'll have an audience and people will go and watch it. But they have to find new and interesting ways to blow up cars, send them through buildings and through helicopters and things. Whereas Bond has got everything there. You know, Bond has so many tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill's 41. Sorry, I was looking up how old he is. So Henry Cavill's 41. So
It's prime.
He's well within the age range to do a few films if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
a couple.
I don't know.
You're scared that they're going to ruin it, right?
Yeah, I'm scared they're going to ruin it, and
was Rogue One. I mean, Rogue One came out of Star Wars with Disney, didn't it? That was a good film. So I think it very much depends who the producer is, who the director is, who the stars are. Is it a good script? How much money they spend on it? They could ruin it. Some of it could be terrible.
Yeah.
But what I find sort of deeply confusing about the whole thing is James Bond. This is a massive spoiler if you haven't seen the last film. He's dead. He died in the last film. So where do you then go from that? Did he not die in the last film?
But it's that Bond.
That Bond.
Right?
So the new character is what?
Because
Immortal?
every film
Did he
Bond's
roll
been
the
old.
stone away and come out of a cave? Oh, James Bond's still alive. Look at me. Big Jesus arms. I mean, what happened?
But it's
He's dead. Why would you kill your main character?
Yeah.
You know where they shot that? They've put a gravestone to James Bond. Yeah. It's become a tourist site. You can go and visit James Bond's gravestone. You know?
Right.
So I think it's quite a cool idea. I don't know whether it's New Zealand or Australia, somewhere like that.
Right. Yeah.
Tibetan. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yes.
I don't know. See, I think look, it's a film,
You've been
right?
worried that there might be a little bit of wokeness creeping into the Bond franchise. Is that what concerns you?
No, that doesn't concern me at all. I think there's a concept of James Bond, and I know, you know, obviously there's a fixed character in the books, and this is based off the books, and we've built this whole thing around.
We've run out of books, though, haven't we? We ran out of books a long time ago.
But that's why I think you've got to go back earlier.
Mm.
So then what you do is you're like, if you're going to keep James Bond as the James Bond character, then you go back to, and this is what I suspect they might have been thinking, because that's the only place to go now, right? You can't go any older because the James Bond as James Bond is dead. So unless
you're thinking prequels, or what do you mean, like set it in the 1960s or something? Or
so you've got like a 20-year-old Bond,
right?
So it's that story. Maybe it's the story of him just becoming Bond. Or how did he become Bond? The story of him
becoming Bond is in Casino Royale, the existing film.
Yeah.
Not the old Casino Royale, the new Casino Royale.
The new one. Yeah.
He's driving a Ford hire car. You know, he doesn't really know what he's doing.
True. Yeah.
He's not really James Bond yet. So that kind of story has been told already. I think you just have to weave in some missions that are in between all the other missions. I think if the audience can handle his face changing every few years.
Well, exactly.
They could probably handle, you know, him becoming a bit younger or doing something else. But
it's not even that. I think it's just this.
This is wrong, by the way. This is wrong. We should be drinking vodka martinis. We should have a bottle of Merlot. We should have.
I don't know what's in that mug.
It's
I don't know what's in that mug.
I promise you, it's coffee. Maybe it's an espresso martini that I've just put in a little bit of vodka in the bottom there.
That's the joy of a mug, is that you can put anything in it you want.
All of your viewers are wondering what's in that mug now. Is he drinking vodka?
I borrowed the cup from Costa, so
I thought you were sponsored by Costa. I thought that was what was going on.
I should be.
Yeah,
Costa, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Sponsor
this
I'll
guy.
use it every time.
He drinks vodka out of your cups.
I don't. And these other guys were also talking about like the difference between the other major franchise kind of that you could talk about, I guess, is Harry Potter,
Mm,
um, where the studio kind of still owns all the IP, but she still has say over what happens with the characters directly.
sure.
So she has kind of veto power,
Mm.
but they still own the rights to all the films and they can kind of go and kind of do what they want, but she still has some input into it. And yeah, I don't know.
There are
I
so
don't
many
know if I
people.
want to
There are
see,
so many people invested in the franchise.
I
The,
just
the,
don't know
the
if I want to see a Bond TV show.
John TV
And,
show sponsored
you
by
know,
Aston Martin and
but it
Omega.
won't be. That's the problem.
Well, a Bond TV show would be appalling. It would make me feel
Yeah,
a bit sad. It needs to be a grand event that gets people to the cinema. It needs to be a bit
exactly.
red carpety. I was very lucky because when I went to the BAFTAs with one of our films, it was the 75-year anniversary of Bond.
Right.
And the very first thing that happened was Shirley Bassey walked out on stage, which we didn't know was going to happen,
Right.
and sang Diamonds Are Forever in front of a full live orchestra. I mean, that you just can't, money just can't buy that. It was incredible. And the Bond
Oh, that's
team were
amazing.
there, and that was extraordinary. So there is a magic. A lot of the magic comes from the music of
Yeah.
Bond.
So I think
Yeah.
this next Bond film will probably be the single most, or if maybe not the second most important Bond film
Everybody's going to be wondering,
in the
is it
whole
good?
thing. Yeah.
Are they going to
It's
mess it up? So much pressure. Can you imagine the pressure?
yeah, they've got to pick a
It's
good
that job
British
I would want.
actor. They've got to have I think they
Mm.
need to have a British director. Now, they may choose one of the
Oh yeah,
directors that
don't worry, old boy. They'll want the 40% UK film tax credit
exactly.
on that bad boy. Guess what that
Yeah.
is on tens of millions of pounds.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. So, yeah, so I think that they, particularly with all the press and all the chatter that's been happening about, I mean, we're talking about it, and you know, we're a small independent podcast, so
Mm.
like everyone in the world is talking about this. It's been on the Rest is Entertainment, like
Yeah.
tons and tons of shows. I've ever since I mentioned this the other day, um, to some of the people in my network, I've had people sending me links to podcasts and stories and articles and TV segments and all sorts of stuff covering it. And yeah, in a way, I kind of don't envy the person who has to
Oh
pick
my
it
God,
up.
the producer and the director and the actor who's stepping into Bond's shoes. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the anxiety on that set. Barbara will just keep popping in and going, oh, really? Hmm. You know, the head of Amazon will be, you sure? The director will be like, oh, get these people off my shoulders. You know,
Or do you think she'll just completely just wash her hands of it?
they can't wash their hands of it, man. It's part of their DNA. It's a family business. It's, you
But
know,
maybe
I
that's the
mean, do you know that this is it's got a couple of anecdotes from the Bond world have been mentioned to me over the years because I've known quite a lot of crew that have worked on it in some shape or form. You know, the Bond crew. I think it must have been in the Pierce Brosnan era because there was an ice driving scene, and they said to Aston Martin, "Hey, can we take one of your Astons? We want to. Can you, Aston Martin, can you raise it up so it's a 4x4 and put spikes through the wheels so that we can drive it
right.
around on ice?" And Aston Martin said, "No." Like, no, get this, guys. Guess what they want to do to one of our Astons? Can't do that. Laughed them out of the room. The Bond crew did it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that there's a family of very talented, yes, we can guys that work on those movies. I mean, crew are always yes, we can rather than no, we can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we can. Let's think about that for a while. We'll find a solution. So that's just one of the little geniuses of Bond is that they will do things. They will make things happen.
Yeah.
The other story that I've heard, which gives you some idea of the power of the franchise, to sell things, to sell Omega watches or Aston Martins or BMWs or Canali suits or wherever it is they're selling. There's a rumor that Barbara had a boyfriend, and this boyfriend and Barbara were invited to the Aston Martin showroom or factory, and there were 11 beautiful new Aston Martin models laid out in front of them in various different colors. And she turned and said to her boyfriend, which one would you like? And Aston Martin were just giving them cars for free,
Right.
you know. And that Aston Martin itself is not a company that is hugely financially stable. I think they've had wobbles all over the years, various shapes and forms of, from going completely bankrupt to, oh no, we're okay. Actually, someone's bailed us out. So what is certainly going to happen is that Amazon are going to realize the power of product placement in a Bond film, which is enormous. I mean, there was one Pierce Brosnan movie where he came. There was a huge advert for an Omega Seamaster at the beginning before the film rolled at the cinema.
Right.
And the very first scene, or very, very early in the movie, he's clearing out a dam of baddies. Let's say they're Russians. They're probably Russians. They're going to be Russians again after all this stuff going on in Ukraine. Let's face it.
100%.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Bond is running around Ukraine in the next film. Let's see.
That'll be part of the deal.
So Pierce Brosnan's there, and the very first shot you see is him coming around the corner with his Walter PPK. And what is that? What is that in shot on his wrist? I mean, it's almost like, let's glue it to his wrist so that the gun, we can sell lots of Walter PPKs and we can sell to Americans, obviously.
That's right.
And because we don't buy them over here because we've got sensible gun laws, and lots of Omega Seamasters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and black ties and everything else, whatever, Aston Martins, whatever. So that's something that's going to happen. Amazon is going to go, hold on a minute. We can make more money from the product placement than we can from the films.
From the film, yeah.
From the films.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, from that perspective, I get it. And I also get it from the creator perspective. Because again, you look at something like Lucas, or you look at something like this, and the family who's had creative control, and however they got it from the beginning, but that family's been working on that IP for decades, 70 years. And at some point, I think a lot of people forget that, yes, musicians and performers and creatives, they love to create, and filmmakers want to make films, and actors want to act, but everybody's got to eat as well. And it's a job, and it's what you do for a living. And so you do need to monetize that stuff. And, yes, you want people to love what you make, but you want them to love what you make and pay you for it so that you can make money.
Oh, yeah. We could let's just AI Bond. An AI Bond can walk around the corner. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Do you know what a friend said to me the other day? Hold that thought, because we're going to come back to that. This is really interesting. A friend said to me the other day, they're never going to make actors out of AI. And I said, why? He said, well, an AI actor can't walk down the red carpet. He can't promote your products. He can't shake your hand. You can't sleep with him. He can't become the love interest of millions of women, or the other way around. A female actress can't become the love interest of millions of men.
Yeah.
She can't wear your dress to the premiere. So there are, some things that won't change, that will stay the same.
100%.
Let's go back to your original thought, because
I think
threw a spanner in there.
No, that's fine. Look, we can chat about whatever we want to talk about. It's fine. And it's interesting. I think this is a bigger conversation, obviously, about what's happening in film, and AI, can come into that as well. I think where it's interesting, and certainly what I've seen happening already, and I don't know if this is anything that you've seen personally yet, but I've seen some articles and I've heard some people talking about the fact that, like, now they don't even need to do really callbacks anymore, because if they have stuff that they need to reshoot or whatever, they just use AI to do it if it's small. If it's something that's major, then yes, they will still get the actors back in. But if it's something small that they need to fix, they can literally just use AI to do it, and no one would even notice. And it's just another part of the suite of sort of FX they have that they can use.
Yeah.
Now,
and they're not
getting
paying
an entire,
they're not paying the actor to do it. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's
or the crew.
It's apparently in the new contracts that they have, the capacity to do that and the ability to do that. Where I wonder, though, is I think the big feature films will still, for exactly those reasons that you just outlined, having the human and the interaction and all those things that kind of drive people and make celebrities will still continue. Where I think we're going to see it, and we're already seeing it, is on, well, look, you have your own film company. I've got a small media company. We've both got hundreds of friends who are freelancers and do stuff. And, this used to be a way that you could make a living by picking up small bits of work here and there. And, it was a way you could get by. But now it's like almost all those small jobs have dried up. And, small companies who wanted to make maybe a short commercial, or they wanted to make some content, or they wanted video content for their website and all that sort of stuff. Those sort of everyday, 1,500 to 3,000 pound jobs that just kind of came around, and small, SME businesses and, stuff in the high street and all that just wanted a commercial. Like, there used to be a lot of that work. Now no one there isn't any work, because they can use AI to make all that stuff. And is it the same quality? No. But is it good enough for them?
Is it good enough for them? I mean, that's the question. Is it good enough for you? I mean, that's a conversation you can have with clients quite a lot. But there's an argument for Amazon expanding the Bond franchise and making lots of programs and lots of films and lots of TV shows, so that it can re-employ all those lovely freelancers who've been leaving the industry in troves since 2019. Since that fateful year. Where everything went sideways and then remained sideways and hasn't come back on straight yet. I don't know. I mean, certainly there's a couple of things going on, isn't there? I mean, AI is uncharted territory. The government, who's retraining people to deal with it, to use it? Nobody. No. Unless you can pay for it,
And a lot of and a lot of courses have popped up, and some of them are by people who are very good and know what they're talking about. And a lot of them aren't.
Will the Bond theme tune be somebody saying to AI, "Make me some James Bond sounding music for our next Amazon film"?
Yeah.
Or will it be a composer?
I'll do that.
That's an interesting question.
I'll do that, and I'll shove some of the music in right now.
Do it. Make it with AI and put it into this edit. When we put it out, that's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the night falls cold and the silence screams, a world of secrets, tears at the seams. Through the smoke and flame, I walk alone, a fractured heart carved out of stone. The clock is ticking, the end is near, a whispered promise drowned in fear. But I'll rise again where the ashes lay, for the game I play won't fade away. On the edge of shadows I stand and fight, a ghost in the darkness, stealing the night. When the skies turn red and the truth unwinds, I'll face the storm.
Oh, that sounds good. Spooky. Yeah.
That's amazing. Can't believe it.
It's like we're sitting in a Bond film. By the way, the franchise with Bond has already expanded. I don't know if you ever saw Road to a Million. Was it called Road to a Million? Which was a game show with where couples from around the world had to do James Bond-like stuff. Like jumping on top of a train and going through the train and finding a clue and then finding a briefcase with a timer in it. Did you see that? I mean, that had the lead role from Succession, the Scottish actor, playing.
You know what?
A James Bond style villain.
I've never seen Succession.
Oh, sorry, David. I'm going to have to leave. Only the best. And I think of it as a dark comedy, because there's moments in Succession which are absolutely hilarious, but it's not probably only one of the best TV series that's been on television in the last 3 or 4 years.
I have a personal habit.
I'm outraged. I can't. I'm not.
We can't be friends anymore.
We can't be friends anymore. cannot be friends anymore. Anyway, my original point was
Yeah, go on.
there has been an expansion of the Bond franchise already, because
Right.
that's what they did. They made a very good show
Okay.
that had the atmosphere of Bond and the challenge of Bond, but it involved everyday people. I don't know if it
Right.
got recommissioned. I'm not entirely sure, but it was good.
Interesting.
I've also forgotten the name of the lead actor in
Okay.
Succession. That's
Well, I
the old
know
Scottish dude.
I've got a I'd heard some other people talk about this, and Amazon's already done a Bond type film before, which was called Citadel. And what's been really interesting about that is there's two wildly different views of
Citadel.
of that.
So hold on. It was a spy movie, or
Yeah.
it was a Bond?
No, it was a spy movie, but it was their attempt at making apparently a Bond-esque. I've got an article from the Telegraph here because I heard the guys talking about it last night.
I mean, I haven't even heard of Citadel, and I'm in the film industry, which is
I
appalling.
know. It
So
says Citadel
how
was
good
Jeff
could it have
Bezos.
been?
Yeah, it says Citadel was Jeff Bezos' globe-trotting, gadget-laden attempt at a Marvel universe for spies, and it does not bode well for Bond fans.
Hey,
And that's from the Tory Graph.
If you,
So-
that's a bit worrying. You've just reminded me that I worked with Roger Moore's son the other day on a spy movie where he plays a spy, and it's called Nightfall. I think it's coming out later this year. What a lovely man. So Roger Moore's son, Jeffrey, he's got two sons and a daughter, also produced the documentary about his father, Roger, which came out on the BBC. I think it was BBC earlier this year or late last year. And Jeffrey has all of his father's mannerisms. He's a very, very lovely man. He's very tall. He's obviously an older guy now. And I think a producer friend of mine asked Jeffrey if he wanted to play a kind of spy catcher coming out of retirement when I think there's a home invasion.
Right.
His house, his daughter's involved. And yeah, so randomly, I managed to get some investors into that film. And I said, "Do you want to play extras in the movie?" And they were like, "Yeah, let's play. Yeah, let's do it. Let's play Mercer." I mean, they're in tech, and I think the other guy's a lawyer. And I said, "Do you want to come and be extras?" And they were like, "Yes."
Yes.
So they played
Yes,
Mercery.
please.
So we got onto the roof of the Second World War Army base, which had all these satellite dishes on it.
Yeah.
This is a night shoot about 2 a.m. Jeffrey Moore showed up and killed them. It's absolutely brilliant.
If you send me some high res on WhatsApp of those, I will put them in over the top so people can see them if you want.
Yeah, why not?
I can just drop
I
them
mean,
in.
we didn't have. It will be fairly obvious that we didn't have a James Bond budget when we made it, but it's a good romp of a film. It's good fun,
Yeah, cool.
It does all the things that a spy movie should.
I wonder what he would think of it.
It's got Ian Ogilvy in it as well, from The Saint. So there's a bit going on there. Something a bit chewy for the fans,
Yeah. Interesting.
So
if you had to put your money on it,
which
what
one?
do you on the Bond thing with Amazon? What do you think will happen?
Well, this is what. It's a business, right? So, I mean, the whole industry is a business, and businesses are designed to make as much money as possible, squeeze every little cent they can out of the Bond franchise. So there's going to be all kinds of things going on. There will be films. I'm sure there will be a film. There'll probably be films about other characters, as we've mentioned. The whole universe will probably expand. There will probably be a TV show in one shape or form. There might be an animated series. I suspect there will be. I don't know if you've seen Archer.
Baby Bond.
Have you seen Archer, the animated series?
Yeah, I know.
For grown-ups, not for children.
Yeah.
It's bloody brilliant. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's basically James Bond. But it's the worst aspects of him. He's completely gin-soaked and loving it. So there will be something like that. I'm sure there will be. I just going back to the amount of pressure there's going to be on that first film. I mean, it will be unbelievable. And almost anything they do now in the press from this point onwards
Yep.
even if they say, oh, it's in trouble, oh, it's very troubled, it's going to be very difficult, they wanted this actor, they couldn't get him, anything they do. If I was that PR office, I would be putting out a story a week, man, just hammering it. It doesn't matter. If even the bad news that they put out now, people are going to go and see that film. The good news, people are going to go and see that film. Anything they say, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Everyone's going to be curious.
And everything will be publicity. Like, so who's got the watch
franchise? Are they going to put it in theaters?
Or the car franchise?
Are they going to put it in theaters, or are they just going to put it straight to Amazon Prime?
Oh, gosh. That is a question. I mean,
what's the feeling like
I would want to see
within the film industry about cinema versus, say, Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of the online streaming things? What's the internal industry feeling about that? Is it the way forward, or is everybody still sort of really want to hold out for people going to theaters?
The UK is not a very good example. The cinemas, there are way, way more cinemas in other countries.
Yeah.
China, India. The cinema is still a huge event. It's a night out. It's not as expensive as it is here in the UK.
Ridiculously
a lot of our cinemas, if you look at our cinemas, if you look at Leicester Square, this is prime London real estate. So the real estate guys are looking at every square meter of that thinking, oh, what, $6,000 a square meter, $8,000, $10,000, $20,000, you know? There's probably more money in ripping them down and turning them into luxury condos than there is having them as a cinema. Cinemas have, for years in the UK, made more money from popcorn and snacks than they have from the ticket price. So I hear. I mean, you know, don't quote me on that. But cinemas in the rest of planet Earth are still very popular. The UK is a bit weird. Does streaming the film on the same day as you put it in the cinema, does that killing cinema a bit more than it has died over the years? Maybe, possibly. I think it probably is. But I'm not one of those guys who pays £13 to watch it in my own house.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have the 45-inch TV and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. So I'd much rather go and see film. There are certain films I will only see in the cinema. The new Alien movie that came out recently, Dune. I'm not watching Dune at home on a laptop.
No.
Or a phone. I'm not going to do that. James Bond, I am not going to watch at home. I'm going to watch that at the cinema, and I think many people will be the same. There are some films. The second Top Gun film, I'm not watching that at home. These are events. These are cinematic events, right? So
I want to get you back on another time, and this isn't for today. Because I think this warrants its own.
Well, I haven't got the check
discussion
from today yet, David.
I know, exactly.
My extraordinarily large bill.
You know what's in the glass.
Yeah, it's in a. My fee is in a pint glass. By the way, glass.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll sort you out.
It's not even the black one with the white bit at the top. It's just the cheaper stuff.
I want to talk about
the
infinite sort of this whole thing. Like Marvel comes to mind with you know. I think they said they had 30 films or something planned out, and Disney was like, yeah, we've got like the next 30 films planned out over the next 10 years or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, it's like death by Marvel. And no one's going to the cinema anymore because it's just rehashing the same old shit. And it doesn't feel like there's anything new.
Iron Man was the guy. I mean, why would you kill Iron Man? What a stupid thing to do.
I know. But
Iron Man was the dude. Iron Man was what people went to see. Everyone else was great, but they weren't Iron Man, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what I mean, though. But it's just this infinite stream. And again, Bond did it, but it did it in a different. Like it never kind of felt tired and old. And then when it did, it was because you got tired of that actor.
Yeah.
And then they'd bring a new actor in that would kind of refresh the whole thing. Yeah. The Daniel Craig bit was. His Bond and his portrayal of Bond was very different.
Well, he was basically to me he was an SAS guy basically. I mean that was the time when these SAS guys were starting to come into the press and stuff, and that's what he was. He was a big slab of meat.
Well, they had competition from what's the Matt Damon one?
Matt Damon.
Yeah, well,
You're talking about Bourne.
Bourne.
The first film's brilliant. Matt not in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're going to end up doing a film review
every
podcast,
single
aren't we?
film. By the way, I know I've said this before. Well, I haven't said it on this podcast, but the new version, the new edition of Superman versus Batman, I think it's called Age of Justice or Infinite Justice or something like that, is so much better than the original.
Right.
It's like another 30 minutes longer or an hour longer or something, but rewatch it because it is much better.
Well, it's the same with Lord of the Rings. I mean, the director's extended cut I think is better, markedly better than the original.
Do you know Tolkien? Release. Tolkien went to my school. His bayonet helmet are in the school library.
All right.
Because I grew up in the Midlands, and the Midlands is where the Twin Towers are. The Twin Towers,
right?
You know, Sauron's Tower is one end of a reservoir in Birmingham. It's not as impressive as in the film, and you can imagine the Hobbit there, or where it used to be.
Right.
And there are definitely orcs and trolls walking around the streets of Birmingham as well. So
for sure.
Today. Today. They're in tracksuits now. Suits. Some of them are in suits. A lot of them are in tracksuits. A lot of the elves have left. They all work in the city in London.
Exactly.
And some of them are in tech. A lot of them are in finance. Some of them are in fintech. But the orcs and the trolls and the dwarves, they're still in Birmingham, wandering the street. I mean, they're lovely. They have their own language. It's called Yam Yam. They talk to each other. Yam right, Yam you. It's just brilliant. But they're there.
Love it.
So if you want one of these realistic, immersive film experiences, don't go to the Harry Potter stuff. Go and walk down Broad Street and New Street in Birmingham. You'll get there.
In Birmingham.
Yeah, or the Black Country. Go out into the sticks a bit, and you'll start to meet some of the hobbits as well.
The hobbits, yeah. Top tip.
They're all still there. I saw Martin Freeman. So after we had the Boiling Point screening in premiere in the Prince Charles Cinema in Leicester Square, we went to the bar at Soho House, and Martin Freeman was standing at the bar next to me. I'd already had a few drinks at this time, so I looked at him and I looked down at his feet like that. I was so invested. I loved my dad read The Lord of the Rings to me when I was a boy, and I just fell in love with it. And I saw the film, the original films. I watched all the films and everything. He's standing there at the bar, and I've had 2 or 3 of these amazingly good free cocktails.
Right.
Well, free to me. I mean, I don't know. Someone was paying for it. And then I looked down, and then he's standing there, and I'm like, hello, Martin. I just looked down. Why did I do? He's an actor. He's wearing shoes. He's not a hobbit. He doesn't have these big fleshy feet. I expected him to have these big fleshy feet. Cocktail me. He'd had an old fashioned or a smoky old fashioned or something.
Yeah.
A couple of margaritas and a caipirinha. Thought, maybe he's got maybe he's wearing the feet today. Anyway,
so you didn't say anything to him about it, did you? You just did the look.
I think he probably thought, why is this guy who's worked on Boiling Point looking at my feet? Maybe he's really into shoes. He had some nice brown leather shoes on, He was a lovely guy. Anyway.
Oh, that's too funny. Cool.
This is my world.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll get you back on another time. I think it would be fun to talk about.
I'm not sure about that.
But maybe we'll have some
You haven't seen Succession. I'm not sure I can come back unless you watch Succession.
All right, maybe that'll be my assignment is to figure out how to watch
If we do this again,
Succession.
we have to drink the drinks that are in the films. So if it's going to be Bond, we have to. There better be a Chateauneuf de Pape or something going on. A little bit of
I like that.
Something.
I like that.
Yeah.
We could do funny
Black
film
tie.
review type shit, and then we can drink the drinks from the film.
Yeah. But the audience, if they're watching, if there is any, all 6 people watching,
Exactly.
will have to drink along with us. That's the
Yeah.
rules, and they have to prove it on like WhatsApp or Instagram or
Something. Yeah,
afterwards that
yeah.
they drank
I
it while
like it.
watching it.
Share your drinks as
Yeah,
you're watching. Yeah,
I
that's
think
cool. I like that.
that's the future here.
They
It's the future now.
you know, there's a podcast called Drunk Women Solving Crime. It's a couple of ladies. I think there's 2 or 3 co-hosts, and then they very frequently have a guest on as well. But basically, I think the deal is that they get on, they start drinking wine, and they dive into a case, and then they start talking. It's like a true crime thing, and
Wow.
they dig into the case and they start talking about it, and then it just gets funnier and funnier as they have more and more wine to drink as they work through the
Yeah.
episode. So
I've started calling Prosecco or sparkling rosé or rosé. I've started calling it Lady Petrol. So
oh, Lady Petrol.
you know, it just if you need a little boost,
It's Lady
the
Petrol.
ladies. That's
I
what they
love
run
it.
on. That's what they run on in Tunbridge Wells and Sevenoaks. Yeah, that's
Well,
what
yeah,
they
for
run
sure.
on. The fuel.
I'm
choice.
sure it's a
Red
few other
X.
places as well. Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Thanks, man. That was fun.
I've enjoyed myself way more than I ever thought was possible talking to you, David.
Talking to me.
Talking nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what this is all about. I mean, this whole show is basically, you know, I have all serious client work and shit that I do that I have to like be serious, and we talk about AI, and it's all very, you know, the future's bleak and it's going to take everyone's jobs and that kind of thing. And and then I'm just like, I just wanted something where I could just be a bit silly or controversial and just get on and rant about shit. So that's the idea behind this. So it's perfect. And I think
fun ranting with you.
I like the idea of having a theme, some sort of a drinking theme to go along with it. So so maybe that'll be our little stick that you and I can do, and then we can come on and talk about stuff and and drink the drinks. But yeah, awesome. Thanks, Angus.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Well, nice to see you.
Cool. I'll speak to you later.
When the night falls cold and the silence screams, a world of secrets, tears at the seams. Through the smoke and flame, I walk alone, a fractured heart carved out of stone. The clock is ticking, the end is near, a whispered promise drowned in fear. But I'll rise again where the ashes lay, for the game I play won't fade away. On the edge of shadows I stand and fight, a ghost in the darkness stealing the night. When the skies turn red and the truth unwinds, I'll face the storm with a loaded mind. Let the walls come down, let the thunder call. I'll chase the edge till the heavens fall. In a maze of lies, the stakes run high, a traitor's kiss beneath the crimson sky. Every step I take, the past ignites, a dance with death in the fading light. The gun is steady, the trigger's mine, a fleeting shadow lost in time. Through the chaos I'll carve my way, the hunter's vow won't break today. On the edge of shadows I stand and fight, a ghost in the darkness stealing the night. When the skies turn red and the truth unwinds, I'll face the storm with a loaded mind. Let the walls come down, let the thunder call. I'll chase the edge till the heavens fall. Hold your breath, the tide will turn. In the fire, the soul still burns. 1,000 scars, a single name. Through the ruin, I'll stake my claim. On the edge of shadows, I stand and fight, a ghost in the darkness stealing the night. When the skies turn red and the truth unwinds, I'll face the storm with the